Question 1. So 9 over 10 is 0.9. Remember, this is the tenths column after the decimal point. Question 2. Well, 0.3 is 3 tenths, and 3 tenths are 30 over 100. Percentage means out of 100, so 30 out of 100, 30%. Question 3, write the number 2538 correct to the nearest hundred. So it's either going to be 2,500 or rounding up to 2,600. Well, it's obviously nearer to 2,500, so that's our answer. Question 4, it's part A1, write down the next term in the sequence. Well, we can see we're going up in sevens, so 23 add 7 is 30. A part 2, explain how you got your answer. Well, we just added 7 to the previous term. Now for part B, work out the 10th term of this sequence. Well, you can go and work out the nth term expression. You know, that's fine, and that's going to be 7n minus 5, and then just substitute in the 10. But given we only need the 10th term, it's probably quicker just to work out all the terms up to the 10th term. So these were the first 5, so 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th terms here. So just keep on adding 7 on from your 30. So 37, 44, 51, 58 and 65. So the 10th term is 65. Question 5. Use 3 of these digits to write down the largest possible 3-digit number. Well, the largest possible number is going to be the 3 biggest numbers in descending order. So 9, then 7, then 4. Now part B, here are 4 different digits. Put one of these digits in each box to give the smallest possible answer to the sum. You must use each digit only once. Okay, so we're going to use the smallest couple of numbers have to be the first numbers in each of the 2 things we're adding. So we need to have the 1 and the 2, that thereby leaving the 6 and the 8 for the other 2 numbers. Now there's a number of different combinations here. As long as your pair of numbers add up to 44, then your answer's fine. Question 6. Now when writing out all the factors, do them in pairs. So we've got 1 times 30 equals 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. So that way you're not going to miss any of the factors. Question 7. So start off with the person with the smallest number of cousins. So that's Nishat with 6. So Becky twice as many as Nishat, so 2 lots of 6, which is 12. And then David has twice as many cousins as Becky, so double Becky's number, double 12 to get 24. Question 8. So simply just put these into your calculator and you get 2.28 and 2.5604. Question 9, part A, how many minutes should the 8:25 bus take to go from Bury to Manchester? So the 8:25 bus from Bury to Manchester, so this one in blue. So we're going from 8:25 to 9:05. So I like to sort of round up to the nearest whole hour. So it's 35 minutes taking me to 9 o'clock, and then 5 minutes from 9 o'clock to 9:05. So that's 40 minutes in total. Now for part B, you've just got to wade through all of this information here. So we're told that he leaves his house at 8:45. It takes him 17 minutes to walk from his house to the bus stop in Whitfield. So he arrives at the Whitfield bus stop 17 minutes after 8:45, which is 9:02. So then looking at the timetable, we can see a bus leaves Whitfield at 9:04. So he's got to the bus stop on time. That gets him into Manchester at 9:35. It then takes him 15 minutes to walk to work. So given he arrives at Manchester at 9:35, he gets to work by 9:50. So does Daniel get to work by 10 a.m? Yes, he does, because he arrives at work at 9:50. Question 10. So Bronwyn worked for a total of 20 hours last week. 8 of these 20 hours were at the weekend. So 8 were at the weekend, 20 hours worked in total. So the other 12 hours must have been between Monday and Friday. So those 12 hours she worked in the week, she gets paid £8.40 an hour. So 12 times £8.40, £100.80. Then the 8 hours she worked at the weekend, she gets paid £11.20 an hour for these. So 8 lots of 11.20 is 89.60. Add these two together, we get £190.40. So show that Bronwyn was paid less than £200 last week. Yes, she was paid less than £200 last week, and she was paid £190.40. Question 11. Well, to work out the increase in the cost as a fraction, we start off by working out the actual increase itself. Well, it's gone up from 560 to 600, so that's an increase of 40. Now, as a fraction, we're going to divide this by last year's cost, so it's 40 over 560. Now, you can simplify that to 1 over 14, but you didn't need to get the 2 marks. Question 12. Well, start off by measuring the size of the scale drawing with a ruler. So this is 11.5 centimeters and this is 5.8 centimeters. So the perimeter of the scale drawing is going to be 11.5 at 5.8 at 11.5 and 5.8, remembering that perimeter is just the length all the way around the shape. So that's 34.6 centimeters is the scale drawing length. Now the scale is 1 to 200, so multiplying this by 200, we can see the perimeter of a real tennis court would be 6,920 centimeters. Now there are 100 centimeters in a meter, so divide this by 100 to get 69.2 meters. Question 13. So let's just work out what all of these graphs would be. Well, here we've got x plus y equaling 2, because we can see we've got the coordinates 0, 2 and 2, 0. Be careful with these. Remember, this is the line x equals 2. All the coordinates on this line will have an x coordinate of 2. So don't get put off by the fact that it's parallel to the y-axis, that is x equaling 2. This one is y equaling minus x. This one is y equaling 2. This one is y equals x plus 2. And this one is y equals x. So y equaling 2 is graph D. Y equaling x is graph F. And x plus y equaling 2 is graph A. Question 14. Now you need to be ever so careful not to just miss one of these out here. So I think it's really important to start off by doing as a working an unordered stem and leaf diagram. So work your way through the digits one by one, left to right. So 76 is 7 stroke 6. And then cross off the 76. Then move on to the 82. So the 82 is 8 stroke 2, so that 2 goes there. Then the 84, then the 69, and so on. So just work through left to right along the top row, along the bottom row, crossing them out as you go so you just don't miss any out. Now once you've got this unordered working here, it's then easy enough just to convert this across to being in order. So for example, this row here, you can see it's going to be 4, 7, 9, 9. So again, and as you take the numbers from your unordered working to your final answer, just cross them out to make sure that you don't miss one. Okay, in fact I forgot to cross those two out. I should have just crossed those out as I took those down. Now also don't forget the key. You must include a key. So for example 6 stroke 4 equals 64 marks. Just make sure these two numbers are different. It doesn't matter what they are, but just make sure they are different. Now, part B, one of these students is going to be chosen at random. The pass mark in the French test is 71. Omar writes that probably the student failed. The French test is a quarter. They're wrong. Why? Well, let's see how many failed. So to fail, excuse me, you got less than 71. So the failures were the 64, the 67, the 69, the 69, the 70, and the 70. So 6 students failed. Now that's 6 out of the 20 students, which is 3/10, and obviously 3/10 does not equal a quarter. Question 15. So Jenny's forgotten to follow BIDMAS. You need to do the multiplying before the subtraction. So you need to do the 2 times 4 equals 8, and then the 12 take away 8 equaling 4. Now for part B, the range is the biggest take away the smallest, and really you need to have them in order to make sure that the biggest is the one on the end, at the top and at the bottom. You can't just strictly just assume it's 5 take away 3. Put these in order, and then you can see that the biggest number is 8, the smallest number is 1. So Rehan should put the numbers in order first, so he subtracts the smallest from the largest number. Question 16. So we're told that Alan gets £2.50. Now Alan gets an eighth of the money, so an eighth of the money is £2.50. So how much is the total amount of money if £2.50 is an eighth of the money? Well, we need to do £2.50 times 8, which is £20. Now Bisbar gets half of the money, so they get half of the £20, which is £10. Now for part B, find the ratio of the amount Alan gets to the amount of money that Chan gets. So Alan gets the £2.50. Now Chan gets the rest of the money, so we need to work out what the rest of the money is. So £20 in total. Alan got £2.50, Bispar got the £10, so Alan and Bispar together got £12.50, so Chan got 20, take away the £12.50, which is £7.50. So Alan gets £2.50, Chan gets £7.50. Simplifying this ratio, we get 1 to 3. Question 17. Well, how do we work out an area of a triangle? It's half times base times height. So half times 3x times 3x, and we're told this area equals 162. So we've constructed an equation here. Now I've started off by just really undoing the half by multiplying both sides by 2. So 3x times 3x is 324. Now 3x times 3x is 9x squared. So 9x squared equals 324. Divide both sides by 9, gives us x squared equaling 36. Then taking the square root, we get x being 6. Question 18. So just pop this into your calculator, making use of that fractions button, the white rectangle over the black rectangle, which is normally about 3 down on the left hand side of your calculator. Now it may be that your calculator goes straight to standard form, but more likely you've got 2300000. Now we've got to give our answer in standard form, so remember the first number has to be between 1 and 10, so our decimal point is going to be here to do that. So our first number is 2.3, and then it's times 10 to a positive power, as this is a big number, and then really to get the power we just need to sort of bunny hop along how many places the decimal point is shifted. So the decimal point starts off here, it's going to be between the 2 and the 3, so that's how many skips? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hops. So 2.3 times 10 to the 6. Now you can always just pop these back into your calculator and press equals to double check. Question 19. Now this type of correlation where we've got a downward trend is called negative correlation. Now Christina is 11 years old. Her best time for running 100 meters is 12 seconds, so she would be over here. Well, why is this an outlier? Well, it's because it's just so far away from the general trend. The general trend is up here, so you can say something like it's just a long way off the general trend, or you could say it's far away from the line of best fit. So the line of best fit, remember, is just a line you do by eye that would be sort of down the middle roughly. Now part C, Debbie is 15 years old, so she's going to be up here. Now the scatter graph shows I should take less than 12 seconds to run 100 meters. So what Debbie's doing, she's really sort of extending this line to say that she'd be down about here somewhere. Now Debbie's conclusion is unreliable. Once you get beyond the range of data, so really once you get below 10 for example, and you get beyond 14, you can't rely on your data anymore. You can't rely on this line of best fit because you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's just not realistic that as people get 15, then 16 and 17, that the time's going to get right down to being hardly anything. It's just not how it works. So Debbie's conclusion is unreliable because the point is outside the range of data. Question 20. So we kick off by expanding. That's getting rid of the brackets by doing the clause. So 5 times p, 5 times 3, minus 2 times 1, and minus 2 times minus 2p. So 5 times p is 5p, 5 times plus 3 is plus 15, minus 2 times 1 is minus 2, and then be ever so careful with this one, minus 2 times minus 2p is plus 4p. So that would give you 1 mark for expanding. Now simplifying is when we gather the like terms. So 5p added together with 4p is 9p, and 15 take away 2 is plus 13. Question 21. Well, we need to start off by working out the area of this trapezium. So break it up into 3 simple shapes. So I've broken it up into this little triangle here, this rectangle here, and this triangle here. And I'm going to work out the area of each. Now this little triangle on the end has really got a base of 1 and a height of 4. So the area of that triangle is half times 1 times 4, which is 2. The area of this rectangle is obviously just 1 times 4, which is 4. And then of this triangle here, half times a base of 6 and a height of 4 gives me an area of 12. So my total area of this trapezium is 2 add 4 add 12, which is 18. So I've got to draw a triangle down here with an area of 18. Now I've got 2 choices here. I could either do a triangle which has really got a base and a height of 6 and 6, because 6 is a 36 and half of this is 18, or like I've done here, I've decided to do a base of 9, a height of 4, because half times 9 times 4 is 18. Question 22. So write down 2 things that are wrong with this. Well, firstly, these 2 probabilities here only add up to 0.9. They don't add up to 1. So the first error is this probability here should be 0.35. Probability does not land on 4 with first row should be 0.35. Now the second thing that's wrong, these 2 numbers here are the wrong way around. These 2 probabilities need to be the other way around. This needs to be 0.65, this needs to be 0.35, just like down here. So probabilities have been reversed on the first pair of probabilities of the second row. Question 23. So work out the size of angle ABC. So we're working out this angle here that I've called X. Now I know the adjacent and the hypotenuse here, so I'm going to be using cosine. So cosine X equals my adjacent side of 7 divided by my hypotenuse of 11. So to make X the subject, we inverse cos both sides. So X equals inverse cos 7 over 11. Pop this into your calculator and you get 50.47 ... So to 1 decimal place, that is 50.5. Now for part B, I've just drawn a little sketch to help me gather my thoughts. So the length of side AB is reduced by 1 centimetre, so that's no longer 11, that is 10. The length of BC is still 7, and ACB is still a right angle. So this is now my triangle. So now cos ABC is going to be 7 divided by 10. Now 7 over 10 is bigger than 7 over 11, so cos ABC increases. Question 24. Now we're told that the probability Bob will take the red is twice as likely as the probability will take the white. So let's go and let the smaller probability, the white probability, be x, and as the red probability is twice as big, that's going to be 2x. Now I know the probability of blue and yellow together adds up to 0.7. Now, and as the probabilities as a whole have to add up to 1, the red and the white together must add up to 0.3, because 0.3 add 0.7 is 1. So 2x plus x, 3x, equals 0.3. So x equals 0.1. So the probability of getting a red is 2x, 2 lots of 0.1, which is 0.2. Now that's great, but I need to work out the number of red counters in the bag. So it's going to be 0.2 times the number of counters in the bag. So I now need to figure out the number of counters in the bag. Now I'm told that there are 18 blue counters in the bag, and the probability of me selecting a blue counter is 0.45. So think about it. 18 out of my total number of balls has got to equal 0.45. So just rearranging this, the total number of balls has got to be 18 divided by 0.45, which is 40 counters altogether. So 40 counters altogether. So how many red would are in the bag? 0.2 times 40 gives me 8. Now part B, a marble is going to be taken at random from a box of marbles. The probability that the marble will be silver is 0.5. Why must there be an even number of marbles in the box? Well, 0.5 multiplied by an odd number is never going to give us a whole number, and obviously there's we need the number to be whole because it's got to be, when we do that multiplication, we've got to be getting a whole number of marbles. So 0.5 multiplied by an odd number will never be a whole number of counters. And a whole number of, I should say marbles, sorry, a whole number of marbles. So there must be an even number of marbles in the box. So yeah, ignore where it says counters there, that should be saying marbles. Question 25. So to start with, we really want to undo this division by 2. So choose to multiply both sides by 2. So on the left we get our 5 minus x as we undo this division by 2. And multiplying both terms on the right by 2, we get 4x minus 14. Now we then add x to both sides, giving us 5 equals 5x minus 14. Add 14 to both sides, we get 19 equaling 5x. Divide both sides by 5, we get x being 19 over 5, which is fine as the final answer, but so would be 3 4/5 or 3.8. Question 26. Now we're told that this angle here is twice the size of this angle here. So as always really, when we've got choose to let x be the smallest of the two angles, and therefore this angle, which is twice as big, is going to be 2x. So my total angles on this pentagon are 90 plus 115 plus 125 plus x plus 2x. Now, what do the angles in a pentagon add up to? So break it down into triangles. We've got 3 triangles. Angles in a triangle add up to 180. So the total number of angles inside this shape must be 3 lots of 180, which is 540. So we've gone and constructed an equation here. These are all the individual angles, and we know that they add up to 540. So we just need to simplify and solve this equation. So gathering up our x's, we get 3x. Gathering up our normal numbers, 90 add 115 add 125 is 330. Take away 330 from both sides, we get 3x equaling 210. Dividing by 3, we get x being 70. Now we've got to work out the size of angle BCD. BCD, that's the 2x. So this angle is 2 lots of x, 2 lots of 70, which is 140 degrees. Question 27. Now these two triangles are similar. So look where you've got the same length. Well, we can see this right hand length we've got to both. So what is our multiplier to get from shape A to shape B? 8.4 times what gives us 12.6? Well, do 12.6 divided by 8.4 on your calculator and you'll see that the multiplier is 1.5. So all the lengths on this triangle on the right are 1.5 times bigger than this one. Similarly, all the ones in this one are 1.5 times smaller than this one. So work out the length of DF. Well, DF is this length here. So 6.4 times 1.5 is 9.6 because we're getting bigger. And then for part B, we've got to work out the length CB. So that's 15 divided by 1.5, being a length of 10. Question 28. So we've got to make G the subject, so we're going to need to end up with G equaling stuff. So we need to unpack what's going on here. So we're going to start off by undoing the square root by squaring both sides. So t squared equals g plus 6 over 2. We're now going to undo the division by 2 by multiplying both sides by 2. So 2t squared equals g plus 6. Then finally we're going to subtract the 6 from both sides. So 2t squared minus 6 equals g. So our final answer is g equaling 2t squared minus 6.